Nareen lived in the human colony New Terra 4, a peaceful but cold place on the edge of the galaxy. Tall towers of silver metal rose high into the pink skies. Machines hummed softly. Everything was clean, perfect, and quiet. Nareen worked as a maintenance helper. His job was simple: fix broken panels, repair blinking lights, check wires. He didn't mind. He liked working with his hands. The machines didn't laugh at him or ignore him. They just beeped gently and did what he told them to do. People, on the other hand, were different. He had tried many times to make friends. He joined book clubs, art circles, and even helped with community events. Every time, people smiled politely but kept their distance. When he spoke, they nodded, but their eyes looked elsewhere. Some even walked away mid-sentence. He especially tried talking to the girls. He was never rude, never loud, never strange. He just wanted someone to talk to. But they always treated him like he was invisible. One time, he gave a flower to a girl named Lena. She took it and said, "That's sweet," then gave it to someone else. After that, Nareen stopped trying so much. He walked alone through the colony's glass tunnels. He ate in the corner of the food hall. He sat on the last seat in the shuttle. He had no enemies, but no close friends either. At night, Nareen would lie on the small bed in his quiet room and look out the window. The stars blinked above like tiny fires in the dark. He often whispered, "Maybe someone is out there. Someone who would notice me." He didn't hate anyone. He didn't feel angry. But there was a soft sadness inside him that never went away. He had so much kindness in his heart, but there was no one to give it to. One evening, Nareen was sent outside the colony to fix a satellite panel. He suited up in his space gear, floated out with the repair pod, and reached the small satellite spinning slowly above New Terra 4. As he tightened bolts and checked circuits, something strange happened. His helmet picked up a signal. Ping, ping. Whir, whoom. It wasn't the usual space noise. It was soft and strange, like music. It had rhythm, but it wasn't made by humans. Nareen froze. He listened closely. Where is this coming from? He whispered to himself. He quickly copied the signal and saved it to his suit's recorder. Then he finished his work and returned to the base. Inside the control room, he handed the recording to the science team. "Probably just static," said one of the researchers. "Not even looking at it." Another laughed. "Space plays tricks sometimes." They moved on to other things, but Nareen didn't forget. That night, he played the signal on his own small device. He closed his eyes and listened. It sounded like waves, like wind, and then like tiny bells. He didn't understand the pattern, but it felt soft, warm, like someone calling out, far away. For the next few days, he kept listening. Something changed in him. He didn't feel as alone when the signal was playing. His steps felt lighter. His work felt easier. He even smiled a few times when no one was looking. One night, after a long shift, Nareen fell asleep with the signal still running. He had a strange dream. He was walking through a glowing forest where the trees sang and the sky danced in colors he had never seen before. In the dream, a shape appeared. It was made of soft light, floating gently, and it reached toward him. Then he woke up. His heart beat faster. He looked out the window at the stars and whispered, "Was that you? Are you the one sending this?" The next night, he had another dream. This time, the shape came closer. He still couldn't see its face, but he felt peace. It became a routine. Every night, Nareen listened to the signal and dreamed of the glowing forest and the light-shaped being. He began drawing the dreams in a notebook: trees made of silver leaves, rivers that floated, and skies filled with slow-moving stars. 1 week later, the signal changed. While Nareen was eating alone in the hall, his device beeped quietly. He pressed play. At first, it was the same soft music, but then a whisper came through, broken, strange, but clear. Hello." Nareen froze. He stared at the screen. His hands trembled. He played it again. Hello. It wasn't a dream anymore. Someone or something was truly reaching out. He didn't know what to do or who to tell. But deep inside, something began to grow. Not fear, not confusion. Hope that maybe, somewhere in the stars, someone had seen him. Someone had listened. Maybe, just maybe, someone out there was lonely too. The next morning, Nurin woke early. The sound from the night before was still fresh in his mind. That single word, hello, had changed everything. He played the message again. It was not a voice like humans had. It was softer, flowing, like music made of wind, but the word was clear. Someone out there had spoken. To him, Nurin wanted to tell someone, but he knew what would happen. They would laugh or ignore him like always. So he stayed quiet. Instead, he worked harder. He came early to the repair lab and left late. But during breaks, he sat with his small device, listening to the signal. Each day, it changed slightly. The music grew richer. The patterns became clearer. And slowly, more words began to appear. Friend, safe, listen, double. It was not full sentences. But it was more than enough to make Nurin feel seen. He began writing down every word in a notebook. He used symbols to mark the tones and sounds. He didn't understand everything, but he knew there was meaning behind it. At night, the dreams returned. Glowing trees, floating rivers, the being of light, always reaching out, always closer. One evening, while the soft signal played, Nurin whispered, "Who are you?" A pause. Then a reply came back hours later. Far, alone. Like you, Those words stayed in Nurin's heart. He repeated them in his mind while he worked. He whispered them before he slept. The alien, whoever it was, felt the same as him. Alone, but not anymore. Nurin's world began to change. He no longer noticed when people ignored him. He no longer felt small in the crowd. He walked with purpose, with quiet joy. He still had no close friends, but it didn't matter as much now. He had someone, even if far away, who listened. Someone who replied. He named the voice in his mind Elri. He didn't know if that was the real name, but the sound fit the feeling. Soft, peaceful, and kind. Each night, their strange talk continued. The signal grew clearer, like it was learning his language. Nurin started answering using simple words. Yes. Friend, I hear you. I'm Nurin. And slowly, the replies became faster. Nurin. I see. Hello. I wait long. Peace. With you. It felt like a dream, yet it was real. One day, Nurin was sent again to space. Another satellite check. He sat in his small pod, floating near the edge of the colony's orbit. His tools clicked softly as he worked. Suddenly, the signal returned. But louder this time. His screen lit up. A gentle pulse glowed across the stars. He looked up. Far in the black sky, something shimmered. A small light. Moving slowly, not a star, not a satellite. It danced like it was alive. Nurin stared, heart beating fast. Was it her? His screen showed a new word. Near. He pressed the speaker. Is that you? He whispered. The light pulsed once. Then the message came. Yes. Back at the colony, Nurin couldn't think of anything else. He didn't sleep much. He stared at the stars every night. He checked his device every hour. A few workers noticed he seemed distracted. You okay? Someone asked. Nurin just nodded and walked away. He couldn't explain. Not yet. 2 nights later, the signal changed again. Not just music now, images, shapes, colors, like pictures drawn with sound. He saw a forest with glowing leaves, a sky with twin moons, a soft river that moved like glass. It was real. Elri. was showing him her world. He sent a simple message back. Beautiful. The reply came quickly. Show.me.u. Naren thought for a moment. Then he pointed his device out the window and recorded the view. New Terra's glowing towers, its quiet streets, the blinking stars. He added his voice. This is my home. A few minutes later, her message arrived. Lonely ... but light. In it, you are ... light. Naren smiled. No one had ever called him that before. 3 days later, alarms went off in the science station. A ship had entered the system, but it wasn't human. Small, silent, silver like water. No weapons. No heat signs. It floated near the edge of the colony. The leaders rushed to analyze it. Defense teams stood ready. Scanners beeped, lights flashed, but the ship did nothing. It only sent out one message, and it was not meant for the leaders. It was meant for Naren. His personal device blinked, and only one word appeared on the screen. Narin ... Come. He stood at his window, eyes wide. The same light he saw before now moved closer, slowly, carefully. Not a threat. Not a danger. An invitation. From the one who called him friend. From the one who had seen him when no one else did. Naren's hands trembled as he touched the screen. He whispered, I'm ready. Naren stood near the viewing dome, eyes fixed on the sky. The strange ship had stopped just outside New Terra 4. It didn't move. It didn't send signals to anyone else. It only waited. He had received the message. Naren come. He felt a soft warmth in his chest. It was not fear. It was something deeper, like peace. The colony's leaders were not calm like him. They gathered in meetings. Scientists ran tests. The defense team prepared weapons. This could be dangerous, said one commander. No communication. No response to hails, said a scientist. Unidentified, we must be careful. But when Naren tried to speak, no one listened, he told them. I've been in contact with this being for weeks. It means no harm. They only looked at him with surprise. You? Someone said, you're just a technician. Another laughed softly. Are you saying the alien is here for you? Naren didn't reply. He just turned and walked away. He had learned something important in the past few days. When someone sees your heart, their voice is louder than the world's doubt. That night, Naren stood alone on the landing platform. The wind was soft. Stars blinked above. A low hum filled the air. The silver ship floated down slowly, quiet like a dream. It was round and smooth, glowing gently like the moon. No one else was allowed near. The leaders watched from a distance through cameras. The ship opened with a soft light. A path appeared like a bridge made of stars. Rin stepped forward. At the entrance, a shape formed. It was not like a human, but it was not frightening. It moved like wind over water, glowing softly. It had no face, but somehow Naren felt it looking at him with kindness. He didn't need words. He whispered, Auri? The being pulsed with warm light. Then, in his mind, he heard a soft reply. Naren. Inside the ship, everything felt alive. The walls pulsed like heartbeats. The air smelled sweet, like blooming flowers. Light moved with every step, guiding the way. The ship was not made of metal and machines. It was something living, gentle, calm, welcoming. Auri floated beside him. Her body shifted like a cloud of stars. She spoke through soft images and simple words. Long time. I searched. You called. I came. Naren sat on a soft seat that rose from the floor like a petal. I didn't think anyone was out there, he said. Auri shimmered. Lonely ... Heart calls, I heard. They shared stories, not through long talks but through memories and emotions. Naren showed his world. The silence in the lunchroom. The ignored greetings, the empty walks home. Auri showed her travels. Drifting through galaxies, looking at stars, hoping to find someone who felt like her. Both had searched. Both had waited. And now, both had found. Alri changed her shapes slowly into softer forms. Shapes that felt more familiar to Narine. Not exact, not human, but gentle. A form with arms. A soft glow where a face might be. Comfort, she said. For you, Narine smiled. You don't need to change. I like you as you are. The ship suddenly glowed brighter, as if it smiled too. Outside, the leaders watched. Nervously. Cameras showed Narine sitting with the alien, talking, laughing softly. No danger, no threat. Still, many were afraid. He's being tricked, one leader said. We should take control, said another, but one quiet scientist, an older woman, shook her head. Look at them. That's not fear. That's not control. That's trust. Later, Alri guided Narine to a small room inside the ship. It looked like a garden of light floating plants, soft air, peaceful sounds. This ... My heart, she said. Narin stood in the middle, eyes wide. It's beautiful, he whispered. She floated closer. You ... see. Others do not. You hear, Narine nodded, because I know how it feels. To be unseen. A gentle light wrapped around him like a hug made of warmth. Alri said one word. Together. When Narine stepped out of the ship later, the sky had changed color. Dawn was coming. The leaders came to him at once. What did it say? What does it want? Is it safe? Narine looked at them calmly. She didn't come for war. She came for someone who listened. They didn't understand. But for the first time, they didn't argue either. That night, Narine sat in his room again, watching the stars. He no longer felt small. No longer felt forgotten. He placed his hand on the glass and whispered, "Thank you for coming." Far above, the silver ship floated gently. Inside, a light shimmered with peace. Too lonely. Hearts had found each other, and the galaxy suddenly felt a little less cold. The next day, Narine stood again at the edge of the landing platform. The silver ship floated in the sky, waiting like a calm bird resting on a branch. A gentle hum came from it, like soft music. A voice in his device whispered, "Come." Without fear, Narine stepped forward. This time, the guards didn't stop him. The leaders didn't speak. Everyone watched silently as he entered the ship again. Inside, Alri was waiting. She floated forward, her glowing form shifting like moonlight on water. Her presence was calm, warm. Narine smiled when he saw her. "You came back," she said softly. Into his mind. "I wanted to," Narine answered. Alri nodded. "Then come. I show you ... my world." The ship gently moved into space, quiet and smooth. No shaking, no loud engines. Just stillness and peace. As they left New Terra 4 behind, the stars grew brighter. Narine looked out the window and saw the galaxy stretch like a painting, colors of blue, gold, and soft purple. He had never seen space like this before. Alri led him through the ship. She brought him to a round room filled with soft light and floating plants. The air smelled like fresh rain. The floor felt like soft grass, though there was no soil. Small orbs of water floated in the air like bubbles, and when Narine touched one, it played a soft musical tone. "This is my memory garden," Alri said. "Memory?" Narine asked. Double quotes. "Yes. Each plant is a story. A place I've been. A feeling I've kept." She touched one glowing flower. It opened, and the room changed. Suddenly, they were standing under twin suns, with wide fields of silver grass blowing in the wind. Narine gasped. "Where is this?" "My home long ago." The image faded slowly. "Why did you leave?" Narine asked gently. Alri was quiet for a moment. "Because my people left, our world grew quiet. I traveled ... searching for light, for someone like you." They sat in the garden together. Time moved differently in the ship, slow and soft, like a dream. Alri showed Nareen other memories, dancing lights above purple seas, flying creatures that sang in the air, and silent moons where she had waited alone. Nareen shared his stories, too, not with images but with simple words and feelings. He told her about his school days when no one picked him for games, about festivals where he stood alone, watching others laugh, about the day he heard her signal and felt for the first time that someone truly saw him. Alri listened with quiet understanding. "You were alone," she said. "But kind, still kind." Nareen looked at her. "So were you." Later, they built music together. Alri showed him how to shape sound with thought. She formed colors in the air. Nareen added tones using a small device she gave him. Together, they created songs that were soft and full of feeling. One melody made them both smile without words. It was made of hope. Alri touched his hand lightly. "Music is the same in every sky," she said. Nareen nodded. "Like kindness." They walked through other parts of the ship rooms that felt like forests, oceans, and floating skies. Everything was soft, glowing, and alive. In one room, they sat near a pool of clear light. "Do you miss your world?" Nareen asked. Alri looked at the pool. "Sometimes, but I do not miss being alone." Nareen looked into the water too. He saw his reflection and hers beside him. "I never thought I would matter to someone," he said. "You do," Alri replied at once. "You are seen." Days passed like moments inside the ship. They learned from each other, laughed gently, sat in silence, feeling full without needing to speak. One evening, Alri showed him her star map. "These are places I visited. I can take you to see them." Nareen looked at the glowing map. He saw planets with rings, moons with waterfalls, stars that sang. "Can I come with you?" he asked. Alri turned to him. "Yes, only if you want." Nareen looked down for a moment, then smiled. "I think I've always been waiting to go." But outside, not everyone felt joy. On New Terra 4, some people grew worried. The idea of a human growing close to an alien made many feel confused, even afraid. "He's changed," they said. "He doesn't belong with us anymore. This connection is not natural." But others were beginning to think differently. A small group of citizens watched the recordings and listened to Nareen's old speech. "He's not dangerous," said one. "He's found peace," said another. "Maybe this is what the future looks like." Back inside the ship, Alri sat beside Nareen in the memory garden. "Many stars, many fears," she said. "But also many chances." Nareen looked at her. "You found me," he said, "and you answered." She replied. As they looked out the window at the soft galaxy beyond, Nareen gently took Alri's hand in his. Two lights, once alone, now glowed side by side. Not all gardens grow in soil. Some grow between stars in the quiet hearts of those who choose to see one another. The news of Nareen and Alri spread across New Terra 4. People talked in the food halls, in the shuttle stations, and even in classrooms. Some were curious, some were confused, but many were afraid. "An alien? Really?" someone whispered. "He trusts it too much," another said. "It's not natural," a voice added. Nareen had become the center of attention for the first time in his life, but not for the reason he ever wanted. The leaders of the colony called him in. He sat in a round room filled with officers, scientists, and council members. Screens behind them showed pictures of the alien ship, clips of Nareen walking beside Alri, and silent videos of their time together inside the ship. One officer spoke first. "Nareen, you've been spending a lot of time with the alien visitor." "Yes," Nareen said calmly. "Do you understand the risk?" A councilwoman asked. "You're creating a bond with something we don't fully understand." Nareen looked up. "She understands kindness. Isn't that enough to begin with?" Some frowned, others looked away. A young scientist leaned forward. "Nareen, we are not saying you're wrong. But this is. Many are unsure." Some feel threatened. Narine nodded slowly. I understand. I felt the same once, but then I listened. Back in the colony, people argued. Some believed Narine had been tricked. Some said he should be removed from his job. Others felt something else, something harder to explain. Jealousy. Narin had once been ignored by everyone. Now he had something rare, a connection, a calm, a kind of love that no one else could touch, and for many that made them uncomfortable. Inside her ship, Alri felt the tension. She sat in the memory garden, dimmer than usual. They do not accept? She asked softly. Some do, Narine answered, but not all. Alri's glow flickered. Should I go? Narine looked at her, heart heavy. Do you want to? No, she said at once. But I do not wish to cause you pain. He took her hand gently. You are not the cause, fear is. The leaders called for a vote whether to allow Alri to stay or to ask her to leave human space. Citizens gathered. Some shouted. Others stayed silent. The mood grew colder, but Narine didn't stay quiet. He stood in the center of the crowd, in front of a public screen, and spoke with a voice stronger than ever before. I know what many of you think. That this is strange, that it's not right, that maybe it's dangerous. But let me ask you this, is kindness dangerous? When I was invisible to you all, when I sat alone, when no one said hello, I didn't become angry. I became quiet. Then, a voice from the stars reached out, not to hurt me, not to take anything, but just to say, hello. She didn't come for war. She didn't come to control. She came for connection. And I answered, not because I was weak, but because I knew what it felt like to be alone. She saw me. And I saw her. You say it's not normal. But what is normal? Being ignored, being afraid of things that are different, or choosing peace when we don't understand something. She is not a danger. She is a chance, not just for me, but for all of us. So I ask you to look not with fear, but with the hope that maybe, just maybe, something new can be good. Silence followed. Some faces softened. Others looked unsure. A few even clapped quietly. Later that night, the vote was counted. It was close, very close. But the final decision was made. Alri was allowed to stay. Back at the ship, Narine stood near the window. She can stay, he whispered, smiling. Alri stood beside him. I saw you, she said. Not just I, but others now. They begin to see, Narine nodded. Maybe now they'll start listening. Days passed, and small changes began. People from the colony sent simple messages to the ship, questions, greetings, even drawings from children. Alri replied with music and gentle lights. It wasn't perfect, but it was a beginning. A new kind of bridge had been built, not with stone or steel, but with trust. One morning, Alri looked at Narine with soft light in her eyes. I wish to show you more stars, he smiled. I'd like that. But only if your heart says yes. Narine looked around the ship, then up at her. My heart already left Earth the day you said hello. In a galaxy full of noise, fear, and silence, one soft voice had made the difference. Not by shouting, not by fighting, but by choosing to listen, and choosing to love. The stars looked different when seen from Alri's ship. They moved slowly, calmly, like soft lights in a giant sky. Narine stood beside the window, watching them with peaceful eyes. He had said goodbye to New Terra 4. There were no big words, no long speeches, only a quiet farewell to a place that had never truly seen him. Now, he was going somewhere new, with someone who did. Alri floated beside him, her glow gentle and warm. We begin, she said softly. Norin smiled. Yes, let's go. Their ship moved faster than human eyes could follow, sliding through star paths that only Alri's kind could sense. Time felt slower, smoother. There were no loud engines, no flashing buttons, just the soft hum of life. and the quiet joy of freedom. The first planet they visited was small and round, with golden trees and blue rivers. The air smelled like sweet fruit. Birds with glowing wings flew across the skies, singing songs that made the heart feel light. Nareen walked slowly, feet touching soft moss. Alri walked beside him, her form shaped gently to match his pace. "Do you like it here?" she asked. "I love it," he said. "It feels like a dream I didn't know I had." They stayed there for a while, resting. Nareen helped plant earth flowers in the soft soil. The flowers glowed under the twin suns, blending with the alien plants like they had always belonged. Alri watched him with quiet joy. "You bring life," she said. "So do you," Nareen replied. After a few weeks they moved again. Alri guided the ship with her thoughts. Each place they visited was more beautiful than the last. A moon with skies that changed colors with music. A planet with oceans floating above the ground. A peaceful world where trees whispered gentle greetings when they passed. In one quiet place, they built a small home. It was simple, made of smooth stone and living walls that glowed softly at night. Inside there was one bed, a round table, and a window that opened to the stars. It didn't need to be big. It only needed to feel like theirs. Every day, Nareen learned something new. He learned how to listen to the sounds of living rocks. He learned how to shape lights into messages. He even learned a few words of Alri's real language made of feeling, color, and thought. And every day, Alri learned too. She learned how to cook earth food. She learned how to read simple human books. She even tried drawing, making soft shapes that floated in the air. They laughed often, sometimes in silence, sometimes out loud. They never needed to fill the space with noise. Their hearts spoke enough. One quiet night, they sat near the edge of a calm lake. The stars above were slow and soft. The water below reflected them like a mirror. Nareen looked up and whispered, "I used to think I didn't belong anywhere." Alri looked at him, her light glowing gently. "And now?" He turned to her. "Now I know. I was just waiting to find my place." She reached out and touched his hand. "You are not just in your place. You helped build it." They began growing a small garden near their home. It had plants from Alri's world and flowers from Earth. Nareen cared for it daily, watering the roots and humming old songs from his childhood. Birds came to visit. So did small creatures from nearby forests. Sometimes, other peaceful travelers passed by. Some were human, some were not. All were welcome. Nareen would serve tea. Alri would play music. And slowly, their home became known as a quiet place, a resting place for kind hearts among the stars. One day, a message came from New Terra-4. It was short, simple. "We remember. We understand now. Thank you." Nareen smiled after reading it. He didn't need their praise, but it was nice to know that the seeds of kindness had finally grown. In the quiet evening, Alri and Nareen stood on the hill near their home, looking at the horizon. "I used to ask the stars if someone was out there," Nareen said. "And now?" Alri asked. He looked at her, eyes full of light. "Now I don't ask. I know." Alri placed her hand over his heart. "I once drifted alone between suns, searching." She paused, and then ... "I heard your quiet heart." They stayed there, side by side, in peace. Not every story ends in a grand city or with loud voices. Some stories bloom in silence. Some stories grow in places where love is gentle, and eyes truly see. Nareen had been rejected by his own kind, forgotten by a world too busy to notice him, but among the stars, he had been found. Years passed quietly on the peaceful moon where Nareen and Alri lived. Their small home stood gently between the silver hills, surrounded by glowing plants and soft winds. The garden they had planted together had grown wide and colorful. It was now full of both earth flowers and alien trees that hummed when touched by sunlight. Every morning, Nareen watered the plants and smiled at the sky. Alri often floated nearby, singing soft tunes that made the garden bloom brighter. They were no longer just two souls who had found each other. They had become something more. A symbol, a story, a reminder that love could grow even where no one expected it. Travelers began to visit more often. Some were human. Some were alien. Some had wings. Some had shells. Some glowed. Some didn't speak at all. But all came for the same reason. To see the garden between worlds. To hear the story of a human who was once invisible and the alien who hurt his heart. Narine and Alri welcomed them all with kindness. They gave food, shared music, and offered rest. And slowly, their home became known across star systems as the place of quiet light. One day, a human child came with her family. She had big eyes and curious hands. She ran through the garden, touching every flower, laughing. Narine knelt beside her and asked, "Do you like it?" She nodded. "It's the happiest place I've ever seen." Her parents smiled. They looked at Alri with soft eyes, no fear. Later, that evening, the child sat with Narine under a star-filled sky. "Is she really an alien?" she asked. Narin chuckled. "Yes, she came from far away." "And you love her?" Narine looked at Alri, who was placing soft lights in the tree branches. "Yes," he said simply. The child thought for a while. "Then I think aliens are nice. More." Messages began to come from Earth and other colonies. People asked questions. "How did you learn to trust each other? Can we send teachers to learn from you? Can we help make more peaceful places like yours?" Alri would respond in gentle words, "Yes, but come with hearts ready to listen." And Narine would say, "It starts with one kind word. Just one." One evening, a group of peacekeepers from many worlds visited. They asked Narine and Alri to share their story across the galaxy. "We believe others need to hear how love grew between stars," said the leader, a tall being with soft blue skin. Narin agreed. But he didn't want to leave the garden. So they made a new idea. They built a simple school beside the garden. Not a school with tests and papers, but a place of learning through stories, art, songs, and truth. Children and travelers came and sat under glowing trees. Narin told stories. Alri showed memories with light and feeling. And slowly, peace began to spread, one visitor at a time. One day, as the stars above danced softly, Narine placed a small statue near the center of the garden. It was simple. Two hands touching. One hand was human, the other glowing. Below it, a short message was written. "Love has no shape, only light." Visitors often stopped at the statue and stood quietly. Some cried, some smiled. Some closed their eyes and made wishes. A message came from New Terra 4. The leaders invited Narine and Alri to return to speak in front of the new generation. But Narine politely refused. "Thank you," he wrote. "But this garden is where we belong now. You are welcome to visit. Bring open minds." And some did. New leaders, teachers, families. All came to learn, not just from words, but from the feeling that lived in that garden. One night, Alri and Narine sat side by side under a sky filled with slow-moving comets. Their hands touched. No words were spoken. None were needed. Alri looked at him and said softly, "Do you ever miss the place you left?" Narine thought for a while. "I used to," he answered. "But now, I don't think I left anything behind. I think I found what I was truly meant for." She leaned her head gently on his shoulder. "You were never alone," she said. "You just hadn't been seen." And now he was seen by many. Not for his skills, not for his silence, but for his light, the one he never knew he had, the one Alri saw first. In time, their story became legend. Told across galaxies, written in books, sung in quiet songs. Children grew up hearing, "Be kind, you never know who is listening." And travelers, old and young, still found their way to the garden between Stars dot where two hearts had met, dot where love had no walls, dot where peace had begun.